Hi there, everyone. So this video right here is going to be kind of a live coding demonstration of how to make one of the big projects in my programming digital media course. I usually use this as kind of the final project for when all my students are dealing with graphics and sprites and things like that. It's kind of a good combination of everything we've done up to this point. So I'll have a link in the description to this page here. This is an online textbook, but you can see everything through intro to coding and graphics up here on the screen. And the very last thing is this Bug-Squish game. So what I'm going to be doing today is kind of live coding a version of this that I would accept as a project here. And this doesn't want to load this time. Sometimes it gets angry at me. But in a second, we will look at all of this and see kind of how to build and go about creating this project. Try refreshing that one more time and see what happens. There we go. All right, so this will be all done completely live, and then I'll be uploading the video a little bit later after my students are done with their project. Don't want them seeing this and getting an unfair advantage over other students. And then I'll kind of keep this up just as a general resource for anyone who might want to check it out. So if you watch this and you learn something, you enjoy it, feel free to like the video, subscribe, do all the normal YouTube stuff, and I'd love to see what you ultimately come up with if you use this either just to recreate this exact project or as a kind of a starting point for your own little game. Feel free to put links to those projects in the comments. I love seeing those. And yeah, let's get going. So I've got right here the just a embedded version on the web page here of this thing. So we have some instructions on the screen of we're gonna squish all the bugs and we will click anywhere to begin. So let's click. A bunch of bugs pop up on the screen. We see a timer and some score options, and when you click them, they get squished, stop moving, disappear, the score goes up. All of that kind of thing happens. Boop, boop. Let's see if I can get all of them before time runs out. If you get all of them, you see more bugs will appear. And then in this one, you just keep going and squish as many as you can. And then after 30 seconds have elapsed, that's the end of the game. It tells you what your final score is, and you can click to replay. So that's what I'm going to be working to create today. So over here, I'll have a link to this in the description as well. But here is my kind of starting code. It's essentially blank, just the default code here. What I'm doing with this that's slightly different, I've gone and I've increased the canvas size to be twice as big in each direction. So there's plenty of space to work with stuff. I've gone ahead and added in preload because we're going to be loading in some extra resources. And I have also included in the HTML file a link to the P5 Play library. If any part of that did not make any sense, check out some of the other videos on my channel. I kind of go through how to do all of that. I also go through it in the online textbook that I'll have linked in the description, like I said. All right. Let's start off with the first thing, and that's just getting the background image to be there. That'll be pretty easy. We don't need to worry about that too much. So I'm going to make the background image. And then inside of preload, it's going to be assigned, we're going to load an image in. And then what we're going to do, there's a few ways you can go about this. You can manually download all of the images you want to use and then upload them to your P5 sketch. That's a fairly straightforward way to do that, but that does take up space in your P5 account. It's going to, you only have so much space, and if you have a lot of images, a lot of sound files, things like that, you're going to run out of space very quickly. So what I've done for my students is created a repository of a wide variety of images and sound files as well. And you can kind of go through here. Let's see, we want Sprite images, Bug-Squish, I've conveniently put them in a folder. And these are all of the images for the Bug-Squish assignment, just right here. So we're going to want background.jpg. If you click on it, you can see there's the image, and you have the option to manually download it from here, just like I said. What we can do is we can use some of this information up top in order to just link to this image through GitHub and just utilize it directly through the web without having to go out and do anything. So what I'm going to do is, as a string, tell our computer where to go. So we want the https://, and then this is my account on github.io/ and that's going to be right there, and then pdm resources. All right. PDM resources, that's the name of the repository. You actually don't need this word docs. Essentially, I'm publishing these onto a web page that you can link to, and it's publishing the docs folder, so you don't actually need that in the link. So we're going to say /media/Sprite images /bug-squish background.jpg. All right. I happen to know what all of that would be because I made the thing. But just to break this down, this is just the pathway to find this online. So we want the mbarden account. That's my account on GitHub. And then specifically when we're able to publish things to link to, that's github.io. So mbarden.github.io/ the name of the repository. That's just PDM resources. And then in here we need the media folder / the Sprite images folder, which is in there. Then we're going to the Bug-Squish folder, and then background.jpg. We can type all of that in here. And then just say for background, we should just be able to say background image. And I goofed something. Make sure I got this right again. We're doing this live, so anything I've messed up. Let's see. All right. I have goofed up the... Oh, I see what I did. Images, we want a /, not an underscore. That's not the only thing that's wrong. Try this again if we're... All right, so I've messed up my URL at some point, but that's okay. Media. Oh, it's bug_squish, not bug. See, these have to be spelled exactly the same. And look, as soon as I fixed those two things, we had the image right there, and it popped up just like that. That can be one problem that you could run into quite a lot. We're just having things not quite done here. What I'm going to do next... is I'm going to say let bug images. I'm going to make that an empty array. And I'm essentially just going to, while I'm doing this, pull up all of the bug images right here just so we don't have to do it again. I'm also going to make my life a little bit easier and say let image URL equal. And essentially, if I copy all of this and then put it as a string, then now I don't have to type all of that stuff the same time. And in fact, I could just go in here and say, let's see, image URL plus background.jpg. and then it just automatically fills in the stuff, combines the strings, and it works the same. All right, what I'm going to do now is load in all of these images. I'm going to turn off my auto refresh just so nothing breaks, but I'm going to do that with a for loop. And then we go back to Bug-Squish, we see these are 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm actually going to make I less than 1. No, I'm gonna make it 0. 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, and 3. So less than 4. I plus plus. All right, that's what we're gonna use to load up this this thing here. So I'm gonna say, let's see, bug images, and specifically the I index of that array is going to be a load image. And what we're going to load is we're going to say image URL plus, then let's pull this up. They're all named the same thing. I did this on purpose. But we're just going to pull up the name here. So it'll be bug sprite underscore plus bug sprite underscore plus, and we'll say we should be able to say I plus 1 plus dot PNG. Now what we should see is if we run this, we shouldn't get any errors. We're going to find out. We don't have any errors. So that means that this for loop was able to find all 4 of these images and load them in. If we wanted to test that, what we can do next is make our sprite. So I'm going to make one sprite to test all of the properties of my sprites on, and then later on, it'll be very easy to use another for loop to make a whole bunch of them all at once. So I'm going to call this test bug to start with. So inside of setup, we'll say test bug. It's going to be create sprite. I'm going to put that right in the middle of the canvas. And it's not really going to matter how big we make it because it's going to change when we put the images on anyway. If you're doing this along with me as we're going through the video, again, be sure to have the P5 Play library installed. Otherwise, I'm going to turn auto refresh back on. You're not going to see your sprites at all. You'll get some errors as soon as you try to create a sprite. All right. So test bugs. Let's see. Test bug dot add animation. We'll call this. You have to give your animation a name, and then tell it what you all want to put in here. So this will be bug images 0. And we're seeing these pop up. So bug images 1, bug images, the image in index 2, and then bug images in index 3. I did this on purpose, so we're having a real janky animation. But this is just to make sure that all 4 of our images have been properly loaded. And they have. But now, I'm going to make this be the actual animation that we want. So, if this is the walking animation, you don't want... let me just do it this way. You then do not want the squished one there. But you notice this looks kind of janky. The legs are kind of going all the way up and jumping back down. So what I'm going to do is just say 0, 1, and then say bug images, the image in index 0 again. And now it's a little smoother. Another thing we can do, say, let's say, let walking and squished, we can actually say walking gets assigned this animation. So now we've given this animation a name, and we can say walking dot frame delay equals 8. We can slow down that animation to be however many frames we want to delay it. So essentially, by default, the animations, it's one image on the screen for 4 frames, and then it changes to the next one we say, and then the next and the next. I've just changed that to now be 8 frames, so our animation is moving half as fast. You can set that to be whatever you want. I'm going to just real quickly say squished gets assigned. I'm going to make my life a little bit easier and just copy that. I'm going to name it, I'll name it squish to keep, and then instead of this, it'll just be bug images 0, 1, 2, 3. And right there. We don't actually see this yet because while we've added this animation to the sprite, we're only seeing one at a time. So later on, we will go in and adjust all this so we can actually transition to our second our second animation. I can't talk anymore. All right, let's keep going. So we've got our little moving animation. Let's add in a method. So that way, when we click on it, some stuff happens. All right, just kind of get that going. So test bug gets or test bug dot on mouse pressed. Is that we're essentially making a new little function, and I've got a issue. It should be okay. We'll see you in a second when we go there. This dot change animation to did I bug that up? We're gonna find out by jumping to this page in the book. Function that should be fine. Sprite name dot on mouse pressed. I know because I wrote this one. Equals function parentheses. We're essentially making a new method with whatever we want to have right here. And that's all paired up. And it's all inside a setup. Why is it giving me this error? Line 29. Missing semicolon. Semicolon's right here. I really don't know why we're all of a sudden getting an error. Oh, that's why. UNCTI function. I just misspelled the word function. Ugh. All right. So, I was going to say that looked all right. So when we get the sprite name dot on mouse pressed, we're essentially making a small little function that's going to be executed right down here. The reason I'm saying this dot change animation instead of test bug dot change animation is because later on we'll be making a lot of sprites all at once, and we're going to use this kind of as a template for working with all of them. So what we should see is I click on it, and the animation changes. It is now squished and dead. So those animations all work. Let's go back here. All right, the other things we want to have happen. Let's see. We're going to want to say this dot set speed. Set that to 0 and 0, just so that way the bugs are eventually going to move. That'll be what we do a little bit later. We're going to want them to stop moving, so by setting set speed to nothing, it's going to stop moving. We're going to want to make it eventually disappear because let's say hypothetically you're really good at this game and you click like 300 bugs. You don't want them all cluttering up your screen, so we're setting it a dot life property. So after, in this case, for now, I'm just saying 200. After 200 frames, we're gonna get rid of the sprite, and that's what we're gonna do right there. Let's see, anything else? Let's see, image. Score. I know we're going to be doing some stuff with the score later. So I'm going to make that, and when we go into setup, we're going to just automatically set it to 0. And we'll say, after we've clicked on a bug, score gets increased. We aren't actually seeing that at the moment, but that's okay. We're going to get to that later. We can test to make sure this is working when we click on it, and it goes away after a little while. There we go. That felt a little long. I'm going to make this 100 instead of 200, and we know it's working. Okay. What else do we want to have happen? I think I want my bug to be a little bit smaller, so dot scale equals 0.5. It's a little smaller, makes the game a little bit harder. All right. Let's go in and let's set up the direction the bug will face. All right, that'll be a little confusing if you've not done that kind of thing before, which is why I'm going to show you how to do it right now. All right. So let's go in here. I'm going to make some space. Why do I have a yellow thing? Oh. Extra comma. All right, we're going to make some space. I'm going to say test bug dot, I believe it's rotation equals random direction. So what I'm going to say here is let direction be an array with 0, 90, 180, and 270. All right. Oop, not a comma, semicolon. All right. So all I've done here on line 21 is say that we're going to give it a random rotation. It's going to be randomly in between whatever elements are inside the direction array. And I've just gone up here and said let direction be either 0, 90, 180, or 270. So it's always going to be up, down, left, or right. So there we go. Next, I'm going to add a conditional. If, let's say, test bug dot, and it helps if you have your parentheses, dot rotation is equal to 0. We're going to have it do some stuff that's specific. Else if test bug dot rotation is equal to 90. We're going to do some stuff. If test bug dot, this is a little repetitive. Oh, I'm sorry, and I'm actually not equal. It is equal to, is equal to, is equal to, and last but not least, else if rotation is equal to 270. Then we're going to do some stuff. All right, because you notice the bugs were moving around the screen, so we want them to move around the screen, but we want them to move in the correct direction based off of where they're facing. So if they're facing 0, which will be to the, if you're looking at the screen, it'll be to the right. So let's see, just bug dot set speed. I'm going to say 0, 2. I'm just going to pick 2 for now. We can make them go faster later. Actually, I'll do it this way. Speed. I'll do it this way so that way I can easily change all of them at once. Set speed 90 degrees, and we will move them. Did I get this backwards? I think I got this backwards. I want it to move at speed in the direction 90 degrees. Testing it out because it didn't move down. There we go. So something was weird. Was 90? Doing this live. All right, let's. Okay, that's not right. Looks like our bug is always moving perpendicular to how we want it. So what if I made this I just changed this up this way. I don't want. I'm hitting this so we get up, and eventually we'll get down. All right, down doesn't want to work. 0, 90. Rotation is 90. Testing this all. Okay. Okay, that's not right. This is acting up now. Let's see. If rotation is 0. Okay. I think I see what I did wrong. If it's 0, that means we have not rotated it at all. I think this is where I got confused. So that means that bug is facing up. So we're going to want to move it directly up, which is going to be 270. If we've rotated it 90 degrees, and I think I'm going the right direction here, 90 degrees, we're going to want to move it. I think I went the wrong way, actually. Let's make this one 180, and I realized this is wrong. 180. So let's say boop 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 90. All right, let's do a little testing. All right, so it's facing 270. We want it to go 90. No. I want it to go 180. Boom. There we go. Okay, so now if it's facing, and we want it to go 0. I think I got this right now. So go down so I can check. There we go. Okay. Had to double check. Like I said, we're doing this live, so any of the bugs we're going to just kind of doing this off the cuff. So any issues that pop up, we're going to solve them in real time. So the sprite with the images is by default facing up. So that means the rotation is going to be 0 when it's facing up. That means we have to set the speed to, when using set speed, tell it, hey, move, however fast speed is, but move it in the up direction, which happens to be 270. If we want it to move to the left, we then have to rotate it 90 degrees. But now, to move to the left, we have to move it in the left direction, which is 0. So then to make it go down, we have to rotate it 180 degrees, and then move it in the down direction, which is 90, and then the same thing for the left direction. So little convoluted. Took me just a second to work that out conceptually, but now we've got this going right here. So boom. First thing done. Let's go in and add another conditional statement. If test bug.position.x is greater than width plus, I'm going to say 100, we're going to do a thing. I'm actually going to be copying a lot of this. Oop. Position.x is less than negative 100 if position.y is greater than height, and last but not least, position.y is less than negative 100. We're going to do some stuff. What I'm going to do is say we're going to take, you notice the bugs were kind of looping whichever way they were going. So like they would move all the way over to the left side of the canvas and they'd teleport back to the right side. They never disappeared, so they'd always come back so you could keep clicking them. This conditional statement here is going to be the basis of that. So we just want to check and see if they move past the edge of the canvas, then we're going to just teleport them back to the other direction. So let's see. So if the bug moves all the way over to the right side, bug dot, we're going to put it equals negative 100. I'm just going to copy this. It's going to equal width plus 100. Now we want the y. And now we want the other direction of the y. I'm just switching the numbers around. So we want and set that to y. Let's test this out. I'm going to save this, tidy it all up, make it pretty. Run this. We get our bug. They're facing a direction and moving. They go off. They have not come back. Something has... Oh, that's why. I'm just... this needs to be somewhere else. Because setup only happens once. So I'll tell you what. Let's do it this way. Let's bring back... custom functions. Sprite. Actually, no. Let's do it this way. I'll put it back. Because for now, we only have the one thing. So this will make more sense when we have multiple sprites on the screen. There we go. But for now, I'm just leaving it all as test bug. We have one bug that works. All right, so they move, and I click on it. They stop. They are squished. They go away. We can't see it, but the score has gone up. Just refresh that. We get our bug again. And it comes back. It just happened to be facing down again in this direction. In fact, you know what? Instead of starting in the middle, I'm going to say move it random. And I'll put it between 100 and with minus 100. And another random spot between 100 and height minus 100. Just so our bugs, start somewhere and then they spread around, but it's not the same place every time. Last but not least, for this part, I think I'm going to make this a little bit more interesting and have our bugs randomize when they teleport. So let's see. We always want it to be there, so let's say test bug dot position dot y equals random. And I'll say 20 height minus 20. I'm picking things not quite the anyway, that one worked. Not quite onto the edges because I want to keep as much of the sprite on the screen as possible, so that way you don't just see the little legs, and that's very hard to click. So, boop. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Copy, paste, 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 and then this one gets to be the X direction. And width, and then this one gets to be the X direction and width. All right, so now we should see our bug, in this case it's moving down, it's going to teleport, but be somewhere left to right in a different spot, just so it doesn't get to be too predictable. And this will happen regardless, any direction we're going. So they're always going to be teleported the same distance outside of the canvas and keep moving. But as to where that'll be, either horizontally or vertically, that's going to change. So, all right. I think we've got most of the bug functionality working. So let's do a little bit more of like the game functionality. I think one thing I'm going to do is just tidy up just a hair before I go forward. It's going to get mad at me. It didn't copy the thing I wanted it to copy. I'm just going in and trying to tidy up some things just so it's on less lines. All right. So let's go in and do a thing. So whenever I tell my students that we're going to be doing this, I give them this code right here. And I'm just going to copy it and then go through it here. And this is a timer function. So what this will do is once we tell it to start going, it will count down from however long you tell it to count down from. In this case, it's going to be 30 seconds. I'm going to put all this up here just, again, to tidy it up. Time, and then I'm just going to get rid of that one. Again, just to make sure everything is nice and tidy. So the way this is going to work is I'm going to start adding in some game states. So that way we can kind of put all of our different things in the right spot, and this begins to function like a game. So I'm going to make one more global variable here. Let game state. In setup, I'm going to say game state equals start. And there we go. I'm now going to go into draw. Move this down a little bit and just using some basic conditionals. If game state is equal to start, we're going to do some stuff. I'll do it this way first. Else if game state is equal to play, we're going to do something. Else if and then we'll do another thing. So this is where we're going to basically put everything that we want to have happen in the correct spots. So I'm going to move this part of my draw function into the play section. I'm going to add into my start here. Let's say and that got real ugly. All right. So what I'm going to say here is I'm going to say fill. Let's go. I'm just going to go real easy and go gray. Two. There's a rectangle. I also want to say inside of setup, I'm going to go in here and say rect mode is going to be center. Just draw it from the middle, make my life a little easier. All right, this is where I'm going to put the instructions. So let's see here. I'll say text. And what do I want it to say? I want to say, let's see, squish all the bugs. New line, click to begin and squish. We'll put that at width divided right in the middle, divided by 2, height divided by 2. There, I also want to say up here, text align center. I'm also then going to say fill gray, fill 0 for black, and there we go. All right. You can make it, you can change this up to be however you want it to be. I'm just going to do it like this to make life a little bit simpler. I'm going to leave most of this at the default. I'm going to copy this and also put this at the end. Only instead of this, I'm going to say game over. New line. You squished. I'll make this all caps to make it consistent. You caps lock. Why doesn't my caps lock want to work? There we go. You squished. We'll say plus score. Actually, I put this on a new line. Score plus new line bugs and then one more new line. Press. I'll say press space to play again. All right. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger again. I'll make it a little bit wider as well. We'll go from there. We'll see that later on. All right. I'm just trying to think. So this is going to serve as our instructions, as we can see here. Later on, when the game is over, we're just going to display a very similar thing, but with new text right here and showing the score. Speaking of showing the score, we can use our text functions. Right here, I'm going to I like having my draw sprites towards the bottom of the function, so that way everything gets updated, and then you draw the sprites in the new updated stuff. So I'm going to push. You really don't need push and pop here, but I like to do it out of redundancy. Just keeps things from accidentally fighting with each other. So let's say, and don't really semicolons there, and paste. Instead, I'm going to say I'll keep it in all caps for consistency. Time left colon space, and this is going to be the result of the timer nope, not all caps. The timer function plus new line score colon space plus the score variable. So we should see everything pop up on the screen here. Semicolon. But how do we get to where we can see this? Well, what I'm going to do is say, boop, 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 add a nested conditional here. If let's see. If mouse is pressed, game state gets set to play. I just need to spell mouse is pressed correctly. So now we should see, if I click, everything shows up here. There's our bug. If I squish it, score goes up. Time is going right here. I do want to make a few changes. The first, I want to put this up at the top. So let's make this, 10, 10. Let's make that a little bit bigger. Let's say 100. Okay, it's a little too far. I'm just kind of eyeballing this. 50, 20. There we are. That's fine. You can tweak the size and the fonts and stuff. I'm not going to do that for this video. That's more of just a how do you want your code to look. This is already going to be going on for a while. So I'm, again, not going to be tweaking the font sizes and things like that. I'll let you do that on your own. But all right, so once we get up past 30... Oh yeah, I haven't told it to do anything with that. So let's see. Do we want 30 minus timer? we want to be calling timer. Is it going to be something like this? There we go. All right. Basically, I didn't want the timer to count up like in the example. I think it makes a little more sense to count down. So that's why I did that. Let's actually set this to be, what's the variable, start time. Where'd it go? There we are. Start time minus timer. So now, whenever we can change the timer to be whatever we want it to be, we just only have to update it in one spot. So if I click, we get this. And why did that not start at 30? I'm just seeing if it... Well, it's going to automatically go down to past 0. So let's go ahead and say, right here, if time is done, it was time is done, right? Timer is done. This is a variable I give my students. Timer is done is equal to true. Then we're going to say, game state is going to equal end. All right, so it's going. I'm just kind of waiting. Going to be counting down. We have our bug that's moving. I click on it. Score goes up. We can see that on the screen. Yay. I'm going to wait. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And game over. You squished one bug. Press space to play again. All right. Let's make my... that's part of the reason why that looks gross. But let's also... do this one more time. Again, just going through, I just wanted to tweak that box just a hair. I'm not going to go too crazy on it right now just for the sake of time in this video. But I mean, I want to look, you know, not disgusting. Nine, 8, 7, 6, 5, 3, 1. All right. Cool. I'm just going to make this... I'm just going to make it a square and leave it at that. 250 by 250. There you go. All right. Easy peasy. All right. So last but not least, I want to be able to reset the game. So what I'm going to do is adjust this start time and go, let's see here, start time, and then in setup assign it a value. All right, let me just make sure nothing else I need to do. I also need to say timer is done is false, it's set up. So basically, everything we need for our starting state, we need to have defined in setup, which I've done here. Everything else up at the top, we're not really using. It's never going to change, so I can just set it up at the top. Things that I'm going to be setting and changing, I need to do in setup. So let's see, timer is done, let's go false. So what I can do here is if we're in end, I can then say if key, or say if key is pressed, then say, I forgot my capital I. There we are. And say nest, and then if key code, if I could type, is equal to 32. That's the key code for the space bar. Then we'll just run setup again. I'll just tidy that up. And let's test it out one more time with just one bug. See, I don't know why sometimes it's not going there. That's weird. That's a weird bug I've not seen before. 3, 2, 1. All right, press space to play again. And why does my thing look so? It's the opposite of what I don't have happened. We'll tell you what. I'll test the press space and then move my square down. Press space. Everything initializes. Okay. Why didn't that? Oh, I see. I just have to say. Oh no. If timer is done, we should say. Oh wait. So that becomes an issue with the timer right there. It's going to automatically just jump back to everything. So let's see. If timer, let's see, time is going to be a number that's how long this is going divided by 1,000. If it's bigger than 30, so we want to call timer here because that's the only time timer matters. But we need to reset the time. What would be the start time? So if I click, that goes. So in setup, score is 0. Game state equals start. That's fine. It'd be something as simple as setting game state to start after that. Timer is done. Timer is done. Stay hydrated. Okay. 9, 8, 7. I haven't run into this bug before, so I'm not sure what exactly is causing it at the moment. 1, 0. Get that there. Press space. Click. And then we get back right here. So timer. So I think we're getting an issue with this because it's counting the number of milliseconds from the time that our code has, that the time the sketch as a whole has started. So if it's ever been running for longer than 30 seconds, it's going to overwrite something. So let's make some slight adjustments. Let's say, I'm going to try and pull this out, as we go. Timer is done. Let's say, let's say the beginning time. All right, begin time. So let's say right here, begin time is going to equal milliseconds. And then down here, let's just try this and see if that will work, and then I'll break down what I did. And of course, that has broken something. And that's going to just go on for forever because it's not counting down properly. Okay. So we only check that once. Let's see if what if I did something a little weird? Instead of begin time, it's millis. Get rid of that for now. What if I said time 30 0? Let's just, I'm trying, let's see, 7. We're getting timer out again. Well, 11, 10, and 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press spacebar to play again. All right. So timer. If I said this. Why were there 2 bugs? That was weird. It should never make 2 bugs. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we squished 1 bug. Did this fix it, maybe? 14, 13, 11, 10, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, I think we got it. All right. So, it was becoming a bit of an issue with the timer function, and this will work for now. It's not 100% perfect, but in P5, the millis function, milliseconds, is just counting the amount of time that it takes for your code to, just how many milliseconds have passed since we started the code. Because we're just essentially resetting the code without stopping and starting it, the millisecond function is always restarting and going up. So even if we set timers done to back to false in setup, as soon as we call timer, it's going to see that, oh, it's bigger than the 30 that we had here. So it's going to automatically set it to true and just jump past no matter what. That becomes a problem. One workaround is just to refresh the page and do it that way. That's a little annoying. So I've got here is just by saying if modulo 30 is equal to 0, then we'll set it to true. We can still run into this bug every now and then But basically, it's only going to set it to true if we're counting down from 30 and it hits 0, essentially. I then just had to tweak it up here to display the same thing. In fact, we could even say modulo start time, just to make it so we don't have to change a bunch of things. But that'll go. Again, we can still run into this issue, and potentially if you sit on this for a long, like 45 seconds, you click on it, the next round's only going to be 15 seconds, because the millisecond function is continually starting up. So there's a little inherent bugginess. I'm going to have to look at some official examples of this to find a slightly better way to go about this. But for the purposes of this video, this will work. And we'll go from there. The last thing I'm going to do right now, text type -2 minus 75. I'm just going to... That was weird. All right. That's going to be another little issue we're going to have to fix. But that's what we'll be doing next. I'm just checking to see, was 75 too big of a number? I just want to offset my text so it doesn't look weird on the ending screen. 3, 2, 1. And that was a little too far, so let's make it 50 and call it a day with that. Save. Tidy up. All right. So now we've got one bug that works. We've got our game states. Let's make it so we can make however many bugs we possibly want. All right. What I'm going to do is go down and make another function. Make bugs. And this will be what we have right here. This will be what is going to make all of the bugs. Luckily, we have most of this information already made. All right. So this is going to be a bit simple to do, but just moving some stuff around. I'm going to go back up to my, this was in setup, and basically everything we have that makes the bugs, adds the everything to them, basically everything involving the sprites. I'm going to copy that, get rid of it, and move it down here. All right, so that's the first step. The next step is this. I want to make a group. So we'll say, boom, 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 bug group. All right. All right. And what I'm going to do in setup is I'm just going to say group equals new group. There we go. There we are. So now I'm going to go back down to my make bugs function after I've made that group. I'm going to tick off auto refresh because now we're going to be doing a for loop. For let I equal 0, I is less than. Let's make this a little more interactive just for fun. I'm trying something for fun. I plus plus. I'm going to basically ultimately be doing every aspect of that in the for loop. And I've set this up just so we can make a variable amount of bugs. So I've got that right there. So I'm going to get rid of test bug up top. We don't need that anymore. All right, scroll back down. Again, a lot of scrolling at the moment. So I'm going to say let test bug. I'll keep test bug the same for now. Test bug equal create sprite. Test bug dot scale. Rotation's going to be a random direction, and then we're going to set the movement based off of that direction. So I'll be there. I'm going to add the animations, add the dot on mouse pressed, and then we'll say bug group dot add test bug. All right, I think we've got just a few more things to go. First off, inside of here, what I want to do is I want to run make bugs with my number. I'm going to start it off at 20. If I could type make bugs, we're going to make 20 bugs. Then we're going to run this for loop. This is essentially going to make all the bugs. It's going to scale them down, give them a random direction, start moving them based on that direction, give them all of the animations, and then it's going to add that what to do if they are clicked, and last but not least, add them to the bug test group. The test bug, add them to the test bug to the bug group. I can't talk anymore today. This runs into one little issue with our conditionals up here in function teleport. So test bug is now localized within the make bugs function. So what we can do is, I'm thinking, so this is where we'll pull up the groups. There's a few ways we can go about doing this. Teleport Sprite. Let's see. Teleport. Can I do it this way? Group. Just say this. Just change all of the test bug to this, because in a second, when we do this, we're going to be giving everything a new name in the group. So, or not T. So by referring to test bug, we're going to get some issues, because once we've put them in the group, we've done this so we can talk to them in multiple functions. The problem is that gives them each a new little name saying the sprite in the group, and we don't know what that name is. So just replacing test bug with this T H I S and T. Let's see if this works. I don't know if it will. We're going to find out. And that was what I thought. Let's see. What if instead of this... What if instead of this, I say, what if we add it as a method? I think that might work here. Let me try something here. For equals function. We might be able to do it this way. Paste that into there. That should be fine for now. Let's see. So let's say let's just run it and see what happens. There we are. There's all of our bugs. I've squished 6 of them, but none of them have returns. So let's try calling that function inside of our, or that method inside of our game state here. So this isn't going to be anything. So let's say, how do we want to do this? I know how I'm going to do this. I'm going to be tweaking this ever so slightly by making some invisible walls that are going to cause our bugs to teleport. This is kind of essentially the last step. So, also that's bugging me. I want the divided by 2. I think it's too big. Anyways, I'm going on about nothing and getting distracted. So let's do it this way. Let wall, and then let walls be an empty array. I'm going to go into my setup function. I'm just going to say, I'll make this a separate function, I guess. Function, say function, function borders, just so we don't have all the same stuff. And this last one will be function teleport. I think I didn't think I deleted this up here. Yeah, I didn't. So let's just get rid of this extra one and go back down. All right, let's do this. For let I equal 0. I is less than 0, 1, 2, 3. Or 3 is less than 4. So there we go. I is less than 4. We're going to increase it each time and the for loop ends. What are we going to do? We're going to say let wall equal create sprite. That's going to be something we repeat a lot. I just realized I didn't need this up here. All right. What we're going to be doing, though, this is going to be kind of our results, so we're going to be adding in some stuff. So we'll say if I is equal to 0, we're going to do some things. If I is equal to 1, do some stuff. Else if I is equal to 2, do some stuff. Else if, last but not least, I is equal to 3, we're going to do some stuff. What that stuff is going to be making a sprite with slightly different properties. All right, what those are going to be is I've done this a few times, so I'm going to go in and say create sprite. I want it to essentially be little borders around the outside of our canvas, just so that way the bugs don't run away. So let's say create sprite. Let's say let's start with the top one first. Width divided by 2, and I'll is the middle point, and I'll make this a little bit past the edge, negative 100. I'm gonna make this width plus 100. I'll make it actually I'll just make it something hard coded for now. Make them really big and really thin. So I'm just gonna to copy this there. So this will be the top one, and now the bottom one. So this will be height plus 100. Down here, I'm going to be setting these up on the left and right side. So we want this to be negative 100, comma, height divided by 2. And then I'll make this width-wise very skinny and very tall. Copy this. Put it down here. And now instead of negative 100, it'll be height plus 100. All right. Next thing we're going to do after all of that, we're going to say walls.add wall. And I have to go back up here into setup. And say walls is going to be a new group. Okay. Now what we can do is inside of our play state, we can say bug group dot collide with walls, and we'll run the teleport function. I'm then going to go to, here it is, this, get rid of that, go back into teleport, set that up, and I'll tell you what, I'll make this a little bit easier. If this dot rotation is equal to, and we'll refer to it back with the rotation. So if it's equal to 90, it'll be moving to the right. So that'll be this. So 90. If this dot rotation is equal to, let's see, 270, and I forgot some of those there. I got that. If this dot rotation is equal to, let's see, I'm going to move it to up top, so it'll be moving down, so that'd be 180. And then last but not least, if this dot rotation is equal to 0, that should work. Let's just tidy that up. So let's just walk through what I've done. Let's add, and let's say, before we add it here, wall.immovable true. All right, so let's break this down because I've changed a few things. The first thing is instead of having a conditional just checking to see where the sprite is and teleporting it, that's fine for one sprite. However, we're going to have 20 plus sprites on the screen all at once. So if we have, I'm calling this function borders because I have wall and walls here. I just don't want things to fight each other on their names. In here, I'm going to say use a for loop, and we're going to make a sprite. And using this conditional statement, based on which iteration of the for loop, we're just going to stick that sprite in a different spot, and it's going to be hovering about here around the canvas. This is way big. I shouldn't want to have any empty space, so you could probably get away with a smaller number. But I just made very long, thin sprites. That's fine. I then made it so they can't move. So immovable is equal to true, and added them to the walls function. Up here, there we are, in the play state when all the bugs are on the screen, I'm going to say that we're going to look and see if anything in the bug group collides with anything in the walls group. We're then going to run the teleport function, which if we then scroll back down, we're then going to check and see, what the sprite is and teleport it essentially based on the direction, right? That way we don't have to check and see what all the things are. Basically, it's going to say if it's rotated 90 degrees, the sprite's going to be moving horizontally to the right. And I just kind of did this real quickly based off of this mass. So if it's moving to the right, we're going to teleport it to a negative X location, so it'll just go that way. And we're just going to run this every time one of the sprites collides with the little wall group. Although I think I want to tweak this just a hair and make it 75 instead of 100. Just so that way we don't run into some issues where they are kind of infinitely teleporting. That would be not good. I think I got all of them. So it'll teleport them to just inside of the border. In fact, if you wanted to, we could even say 50, just to be extra safe. 50. All right, there we go. I think that'll work. We just need one more thing. So we should have just about all this up and going. We just need a few more things. Basically, the last thing that was in the little demo code is that we need to be able to, whenever we've clicked all the bugs, make more of them show up. The way we can do that is I'm going to go back into when we're clicking on the bugs. And I'm going to do a few final tweaks in here. So we'll say bug group dot remove this. All right. So that'll be the first thing to do. When we click on the bug, it's going to remove the bug from the group. Another thing I'm going to do is say if I'm going to add a conditional statement. This dot is dead is equal to false. Then we're going to do all of that stuff. Else this dot is dead gets assigned true. All right, so then I'm going to go up here. Say test bug dot is dead. We're essentially just making a new property and assigning it a value false. So what this will do is this will go in and say, hey, if our things are getting angry at me. If just okay, that looks better. So basically, what this will do is say, hey, is the bug dead? If it's not, if bug is dead is equal to false, then we're going to squish it, tell it to stop moving, do the life thing, add the score, remove it from the group. We also need to say this dot is dead. I put that in the wrong spot. Dead gets assigned true. And then we actually just don't even need that. And I think that'll do that. So basically what this will do is this will only do things when we click on the sprite and the sprite is alive. Because otherwise you could theoretically click on the same dead sprite a bunch of times until it disappears, and the score is just going to crank up a ton, and that'll be problematic. You would get some cheaty scores that way. All right, so that's everything that's going to happen with that method, this on mouse pressed. The reason I've added the bug group.remove this from here is because I'm going to go back up to my my play state right here. Add in another conditional. A lot of conditionals. If bug group dot length ever becomes less than 1, so 0, we're just going to run the function, make bugs. I'll just make 20 more for now. That should do everything we need to do. Let's run a test. Put auto refresh back on because I'm not making a for loop. Save it. Run it. Gonna click. Okay, that was a problem. That was not what I wanted to see. So something went wrong right there. Oh, that's it. I had the wrong symbol. Not if it's greater than 1, if it's less than 1. I had a bit of a recursive problem going on there. Not what we want. We don't want infinite bugs. Now, so there. Now we get all of these. I'm just going to do the quick little squish all of them. And they didn't teleport back. Okay. Why did they not teleport back? So I didn't get an error, so that's good. Walls with an S. Walls with an S. Bug group. Let's go through here. Bug group.add. Test bug. That should be fine. Equal create sprite. Doesn't. It's going to be put randomly. That's going to be set to false. Give a random rotation. All right. So we're going to squish it. I'm going to remove. It is .remove, right? I'm going to double check the reference. P5, that's not 5.play. I'm just going to double check reference. Group. Is it remove or remove? No, I don't want remove sprites. Yeah, we just sprite.remove bug group.remove this. Let's do a few quick tests. Some little things here. So let's go back up to where we first make the bugs. Make bugs. I'm only going to make one for now. But I'm just trying to tidy up some space here while I'm edit, because there's a lot of vertical space. All right, click the bugs. One bug. We click it, more show up. That's great. That part works, but they aren't being teleported properly. I think it's with the this. I'm just going to change all the thises to Sprite and see what happens. I don't think that would work, but I'll do it for only one direction. Why is this not working at all now? Alright, so let's see if they start looping in one direction or not. Alright, none of them worked, so that didn't fix it. I'm gonna put this back to this. This. I think it has something, maybe something with the walls is what's giving us issues. Oh, I think I know what it is. I don't think I actually called function borders earlier on. So let's go up here and say in setup, did I spell that right? B-O-R-D-E-R-S. B-O-R-D-E-R-S. That would do it. And I've got an error. What do you mean? It's... We make it. Fine, I'll do it like this. Let wall... Do it that way. Save. All right, let's see if it works. And it works. If I click it, we all of a sudden get a bunch more bugs. And they're all going. I cannot spam click and have it all go up. It only goes up when I click. You can click and drag. That's kind of a thing. All right, there we go. That was it. That was just, I forgot to call the function that actually made the border sprites. So, I think that's just about it. I hate how that rectangle looks. I think there's way too much bottom. So let me go back up to where we're making this. Instead of making it with 1, make it with 20. Save. Just kind of make some things a little less time, space consuming. All right. If it's equal to end. See, I don't know why it does that sometimes. I think there's some issues with the timer function. All right, I'm just running it down one more time. Here's all of this. 20. Oh, look, 20 more bugs. Yay. All right. 2 minus 20. I'm going to run this through one more time. I'm just doing some, again, those final little visual tweaks. It is what it is. That's not the most important part of this. We want to make sure everything is up and going. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, that doesn't look completely horrible. All right, the last thing I'm gonna do is, all right, if game state is equal to play, I have right here with the collide. I'm also gonna say bug group dot, if I can type, displace anything in the bug group. So basically now our bugs won't overlap with each other. So you can see now they push each other around. I think it's kind of a fun little feature. So yeah, there is that. That is kind of a off the cuff with no prior planning version of the Bug-Squish assignment. I'll put a link to this in the description of the video. I may try and tweak the timer function just a little bit. Things were acting up, but for the most part, it works. You just run into maybe a slight occasional bug. Ha ha ha, pun intended. So yeah, so there's that. And I think that will be it for this one. So again, if you learned something, feel free to give this a like and subscribe, all the normal YouTube stuff. Do all of that. Tune in for additional videos. If you make your own version of Bug-Squish, feel free to post a link to that in the comments below. Again, I love seeing things people make. If you made some other game using this kind of logic, again, feel free to share that, and I would love to see them. All right, that's going to be it for this one. So I will see you all next time that I see you. Bye.